Both chambers of Congress will be back in town this week, but there has been no sign of progress over the president's stalled Senate impeachment trial, and now lawmakers are dealing with a pressing new concern, the fallout over a U.S. strike on Iran's top general. Joining me now is the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Congressman Adam Schiff. Congressman, we have a lot to get to, but I want to start with Iran. You said after the briefing on Friday, you're a member of the Gang of Eight, so you would be briefed on such a thing, that you have yet to get an adequate answer about why the strike was necessary right now. You heard Senator Warren suggest that this might be politically timed, almost like a wag the dog suggestion to change the subject from impeachment. A pretty striking suggestion from the senator. Is she right?
Look, I don't know what the president's motivation here is, but I think it was a reckless decision that increased the risk to Americans all around the world, not decreased it. When Secretary Pompeo says that this decision to take out Qasem Soleimani saved American lives, saved European lives, he is expressing a personal opinion, not an intelligence conclusion. Much like his opinion that leaving, reneging on the Iran nuclear deal improved our security, the evidence has been to the contrary. And I think the evidence will be to the contrary here, sadly. I think it will increase the risk to Americans around the world. I haven't seen intelligence that taking out Soleimani was going to either stop the plotting that's going on or decrease other risks to the United States. And in fact, we are already seeing serious strategic repercussions. The Iraqi prime minister now supporting throwing American troops out of Iraq, the Iraqi parliament introducing a new resolution to remove us from that country. That's going to impede our fight against ISIS. That would be a real coup for Iran to force the United States out of Iraq. We're going to have to take our eye off the ball when it comes to fighting ISIS in Syria, because we're not going to be able to, I think, protect a small number of forces there. So we're either going to have to send more forces or have to withdraw the forces that we have. So strategically, I think we've already seen setbacks, and I don't know that we're going to see any improvement in our security. I think quite to the contrary, we may see an increased risk of war with Iran.
But you acknowledge, as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs have said, and others in the Trump administration have said, that Soleimani was heading a plot to attack American interests in the region. That is accurate?
It's accurate, but it's also true that Soleimani has been plotting against the United States for decades. The question is, did the plotting here rise to the level that required his elimination from the battlefield? And would that elimination stop the plotting? Or would it accelerate it? Or would it make the potential attacks on the United States greater, not worse? And there, I don't think the intelligence supports the conclusion that removing Soleimani increases our security. There's a big difference when our generals talk about potential plots in days, weeks, or months, between days and months. And particularly when you have someone like Soleimani who has been at this for so long. So the question is, why now? Is this going to increase or decrease the risk of war? And I think it's going to increase the risk of war with Iran.
So some officials, unnamed U.S. officials, told the New York Times that the evidence that this attack was imminent was, quote, razor thin. Do you agree?
I don't know if I would use that characterization. I would say that there certainly was a lack of detail in terms of the plotting, and I don't think we had sufficient guidance on either its imminence or the nature of the attacks to warrant taking out Soleimani. I don't think the intelligence supports the conclusion that killing a top Iranian official is going to either stop plotting or improve American security. I do think it's likely to result in strategic losses. I think it's going to result in potentially our being thrown out of Iraq, reducing our ability to fight ISIS, and additional plotting against the United States.
Let's turn to impeachment. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is still holding on to the articles of impeachment and preventing the Senate from beginning its trial. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell made clear on Friday he said he's in no rush to hold the trial. He's not going to meet her demands for a trial. How long are Democratic leaders prepared to hold on to the articles? Might this go until February? Could this be indefinite?
I don't think it's going to be indefinite, no. I don't think that's at all the desired motivation here. The desire is to get a commitment from the Senate that they're going to have a fair trial. Fair to the president, yes, but fair to the American people.
McConnell's not going to do what you guys want him to do.
Well, McConnell, I think, is one success that this has already had is fleshing out McConnell. showing that he is working in cahoots with the president, that he has made himself an active participant in the president's cover-up. So the American people needed to see that, and now they do.
So you're never going to get what you want, though. I mean, isn't that what you're saying?
Well, that's not necessarily the case either, because you are also seeing the effect of this is fleshing out senators, both Democrats and Republicans, are now having to go on the record and say, do we want witnesses? Do we want to see the documents? Do we want the American people to hear the evidence? Do we want a real trial, or do we want a cover-up? It's clear, I think, from the President, Mitch McConnell, they don't want a trial anymore. They don't want witnesses. They don't want documents. They don't even want, Jake, they don't even want a verdict. They want a dismissal. They want to have the House managers come in, make a presentation, and then move to dismiss and make it go away before the American people get to see the full extent of the president's misconduct. But that's not what the American people want. It's not what the founders contemplated. And if you ask even a majority of Republicans around the country, they want the evidence to come out. And so I think that withholding the articles is thus far flushed.